Back in 2013, my co-founder Rich Malloy and I had the opportunity to take a very active role in organizing Boulder Startup Week. And Boulder Startup Week is the birthplace of the Startup Week phenomenon. And it was such an eye-opener for us that we were able to connect our audience of startup companies to a cross-section of the Boulder community, as well as guests from outside of Colorado that were coming in to learn more about the startup scene. And the takeaway for us is that we really wanted to create more opportunities for engagement and that inclusivity, that welcome to allow people to take part in not only their community, but the amazing things that are happening across the landscape of entrepreneurs. And so we founded Engage Colorado in 2013 on the tail end of Startup Week, and we looked around at other festivals that we could introduce that cross-pollination, and NewCo jumped out at us. So we began producing NewCo in 2014 and have done it, this will be year 3.
And House of Genius for that?
Boulder House of Genius. It's a once-a-month event that welcomes entrepreneurs and gives them an unfettered platform to ask the question that keeps them up at night. And we present a panel of people that only know each other on a first-name basis and have the rule not to talk about what they do or qualify any of their thoughts or statements. And through the course of an evening, we try on for size the problems that those entrepreneurs are facing. So we host 3 entrepreneurs every month, and that actually began here in Boulder, Colorado 5 years ago. And now it's a worldwide phenomenon. We host out at Zayo, and love to welcome any of your audience to houseofgenius.org.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. And can anybody be a part of that?
Anybody can be a part of it. We do have a guest list just so we can manage the numbers because it is a fairly intimate environment. We host about 24 people every month, and there are also events happening in Denver as well as Fort Collins, and as I mentioned, cities around the world. But yeah, they can apply at houseofgenius.org and would love to welcome them. And any entrepreneurs that are working on an idea need some ideas and influence from outside of their own bubble or echo chamber, they'd be great to present as well.
Can you tell me sort of how NewCo started here and how many companies were involved and what the
So we were fortunate this evening to have John Patel, who's the founder of the NewCo festivals, join us and say a few words to open up year 3 of NewCo Boulder. This year we have 50 companies across the entrepreneurial ecosystem, food companies, tech companies, biopharma, cannabis, brewing, you name it. Last year we welcomed about 600 people, 60 companies through the course of one day. And NewCo is like a condensed startup week. It happens across the city. Every company that's hosting opens their doors like an artist opens studios. So this is year 3, and we're on track for about 600 attendees and 50 companies this year.
Are there any changes from this year compared with last year?
We added more focus and emphasis on food companies, restaurants. We're hosting our interview and our kickoff party tonight at the Rayback Collective, which is a new and important part of our community. I think entrepreneurship extends through all channels of the Boulder ecosystem. We have plenty of tech, and we have a lot of established food companies, but we have an incredible food truck scene that Rayback has recognized and created a space for. We're also interested in up-and-coming food manufacturers and producers. So Boulder Organic Foods up in Niwot, Organic India, Made in Nature, and the Organic Sandwich Company, a host of others. And I think there's a lot of interesting stories and truths to creating a different kind of startup and a different kind of entrepreneurial venture. It really is about creating a product and quality and learning how to scale that and manage all the ins and outs that I think is useful information for any entrepreneur.
What are the benefits for the host company?
The host company really has a very simple path to be involved. They open their doors for an hour, they welcome a curated list of guests, and they get to tell their stories. Ideally, it's a C-level executive, a founder-level story talking about the trials and tribulations. Year 1, we had Dave Query from Big Red F, and he told a story, basically fireside chat, pulled up a stool, sat in the kitchen, and talked about working his way up from being on the wrong side of the kitchen to running a large restaurant conglomerate. Our hosts will open their doors, welcome our guests. Our team of volunteers welcomes a list of attendees, and my team through Engage Colorado puts together the marketing, the messaging, and builds an audience for all these great host companies. Now, we challenge people to try to do everything, but with 50 or 60 companies over the span of one day, that means every time slot has at least 6 companies, and it becomes quite challenging to cover all of those bases in just one day. But we do our best, and we have a lot of fun in it.
You're creating a community here, it seems.
I think we're augmenting a community that we would like to see grow stronger, to become more inclusive, and I think we all have a challenge as we head into 2017 to create opportunities for engagement, dialogue, the open sharing of ideas, collaboration, and I do think that the more we welcome that opportunity, the stronger we become as a community here in Boulder and beyond.
As a startup community, I mean, Boulder's a very special place. How does it sort of fit into the ecosystem of NewCo?
It's funny, and I'm glad you asked that question, because NewCo has presence in London. I think their San Francisco Bay Area Festival, which is coming up in February, runs over 4 days. And Boulder's actually a small market. We are on par with NewCo Austin. And Boulder has this challenge of drawing audience, because Denver certainly has a large MSA, a large area surrounding them. Boulder, we really do curate and try to captivate an audience local here. One of the challenges, I think, is we have so much talent and so much density of different startups that creating an audience that can take that all in is a worthwhile challenge on our part.
What do you see the event? Do you see it growing in the future?
I think one of the challenges I've faced every year of organizing NewCo is that we only scratch the surface. Whether it's 45 our first year, 60 last year, 50 companies this year, it's a slice out of a very large pie of what's happening here in the community. Walk down any street downtown, head out into the east complexes of offices and warehouse space, and you realize just how many entrepreneurs and small businesses there are that are really trying to define and create their brands, their products, their visions, and that includes nonprofits as well. I think my goal for the future would be to create a platform for this continued engagement outside of just a one-day festival, but also recognize that every year we should be shining the light in as many directions as possible.
It seems like there are a few different companies than last year.
There are.
Or you're trying to really get some new companies every year.
Yeah, we are. But at the same time, welcome back some of our honored and regular host company guests. So having Google back is always a great draw. Foundry Group, who's a sponsor. Sovereign, who's our presenting sponsor this year. They have great stories to tell, and there are a lot of interested attendees, in part because NewCo is a great tool for recruiting and hiring, as well as getting the brand and the story out that's beyond just the logo or the sticker or the t-shirt. And particularly in our tech community, I think there's a lot of curiosity. What's happening with Google's expansion? What does a startup do that came out of Techstars? And how do people connect beyond that brand and maybe that first connection they have through a website and really learn more about how they might get involved or be inspired.
And can you tell me how you began to work with the Boulder Chamber in this Free Entrepreneur event?
Yeah, that's a great question. I sit on the Boulder Community Affairs Committee, and on the tail end of my involvement with Startup Week, John Terrer, who was the new president and CEO at the time, we had been friendly through a number of other business circles, and John and I had a great conversation about his vision for engaging not just the established and more traditional side of entrepreneurship that has created our Boulder community, as I like to say, the sort of time-tested entrepreneurs, and he really wanted to create more opportunities for engagement with the up-and-comers. And so we've collaborated through the last 2 years of NewCo to share our audiences and to create a platform of dialogue between the up-and-comers and the established.
Thank you. Such an amazing event.
It really is, yeah. And I think it's another sign that when we work together, things get even better.
And it sounds like you're also working with CU.
I am, yeah. I've had a role since this summer running their accelerator program, Catalyze CU. And in fact, we have a large uptick this year in student involvement in NewCo. So the university marketed and messaged to the student population, and we have, I think, on the order of about 300 students attending NewCo this year.
Oh, wow.
And we have a couple of companies and student endeavors that will be presenting as hosts as well.
Really?
Shinesty actually came out of the Catalyze CU program year one, and they've just expanded into a new warehouse space. They're growing like crazy. They're a real, true Boulder success story, CU Boulder success story at that.
And is Catalyze and Spark, is that the
Spark,
same?
yeah. So Catalyze CU is run through the university. It's hosted out of the Idea Forge, which is College of Engineering and Applied Sciences. Okay. It's open to any student, staff, or faculty at the university. And then Spark Boulder is an extension of student entrepreneurs that wanted to create a space and a community for them. So it's co-working, it's a host location for a lot of up-and-coming businesses and companies, and they're really doing some incredible programming there to help students get more skills applicable to their entrepreneurial endeavors.
And Qualify won the Spree
Entrepreneur Award. They went through Catalyze this year. Yep, they were one of our 8 teams in the cohort this last year, year 3. And then actually Spark Boulder will be hosting a community panel for students to startups and talking about the various entry points for students to get involved in the startup community.
And are you going to be part of Boulder Startup Week?
I'm going to host a a House of Genius open house, which is a format that's open to a large audience, and always supportive of events like Boulder Startup Week in the community. It's definitely one that shines a lot of light on what's happening here.
Throughout the year, NewCo has a newsletter, but I'm just wondering, are there any other ways to sort of bring the community together around NewCo throughout the year?
And I would ask of your audience to share their ideas with me. They can reach out to me, tim@engagecolorado.com. Between House of Genius, Catalyze CU, and what's happening at the university, platforms like NewCo and all these other avenues, I'd love to hear ideas and look what we can do to create a stronger system of connecting people that are wanting to be involved.